Searching the fence line for fingerprints, forensics examining the family home of 4-year-old Cleo Smith, missing for 1 week today after she disappeared from the blowholes north of Carnarvon. Police say Cleo's parents are not their target. Forensics sent here to firm up a growing suspicion Cleo was taken, and growing fears the abduction was premeditated and planned, maybe meticulously. Detectives now believe there's a chance whoever took Cleo came here to her home, maybe more than once, targeted before she was taken. This is what 6 a.m. looks like near the blowholes. It was last Saturday, almost to the minute, that Cleo's mother woke up at the campsite and realised her daughter was missing. Taken. This is big country, and it's a big task to find one little girl. The zipper on the family tent was discovered open, higher than the 4-year-old could possibly reach. Her sleeping bag gone. Local helicopter pilot Dave was the first set of eyes in the sky.
Expect them not to be far from the tent normally. You wouldn't expect them to be a couple of kilometres away. Still shocking for sure, and hopefully we do find her pretty soon. Still keeping our fingers crossed.
But the search for a missing girl soon became an investigation into a suspected kidnapping. Word spread quickly.
About 8 to 9 o'clock we were leaving Carnarvon that morning, Saturday morning. An hour up the road, first fuel station, it was already posted on their fuel pumps, and we saw it continually until we got to Carnarvon, Crather.
This small town has been left shattered.
We've been careful with making sure we've got gates locked, just keeping an eye on who's has, especially the food and.
I think the mood around it, I think people are fairly despondent. Probably
out to Cleo's family and the whole businesses, anything, any information is so important for making sure that we can find this little girl and find this little girl alive.
Police today hoping to uncover the critical clue to bring Cleo home.
Joey Catanzaro is in Carnarvon tonight. Joey, has there been a breakthrough in the case?
Tim, not yet, but the best chance of bringing Cleo home may still be a member of the public. Crime Stoppers has been receiving up to 400 additional calls, tip-offs a day since Cleo's disappearance. The biggest spike came after the WA government announced a $1 million reward for information. I can't stress this enough. Detectives are still calling for vigilance here and across the state. They assure me they're still following up leads and gathering evidence as people here in Carnarvon prepare to gather to support Cleo and her family. There is a plan for a vigil in the town tomorrow night. That is, of course, unless the 4-year-old is found before then.
So I've just found, and it is like 9 o'clock when I found this, that there's audio of Cleo recorded on a single CCTV camera at a beach shack situated just 20 metres from where she was staying the day before she vanished. So the very shack that is behind her in this picture caught her voice. Let's have a little look. I haven't even read further. She was recorded on this security camera. That's the shack, okay. A driver is being sought. Detective Superintendent Rod Wild on Sunday Arvo said a car was seen turning south off Blowholes Road between 3 a.m. and 3:30. Okay, that makes more sense. We need to focus definitely on the perpetrator line to find Cleo if that's possible. Hello everybody, I hope you are all well. We're doing well. Bear is okay. He started his treatment and he's feeling good. Thank you so much for all your prayers. This is about Cleo Smith. Cleo is 4 years old and vanished from Carnarvon. Now, luckily or unluckily, either way, I know Carnarvon. I live in this state and I've done the map. So we're going to get into where I think should be looked, in particularly in regard to the suspect or suspects and what I think may have happened with Cleo. Now, I'm not going to go into any graphic detail, but unfortunately, when a 4-year-old goes missing from the middle of somewhere like Quobba, it's hard to not assume the worst. So let's have a little look. So here's the area, just a quick rundown. We've got a quick thing here of what happened. 1:30, Cleo woke up for some water and then went straight back to sleep. 6:20, it was actually 6 a.m. when she realised that she was gone, and then 6:20 when she got somebody to help look. This is something I found earlier, an apparent escape route, and then some other things. So what else have we got here? Okay, so this is the scale of Australia and where Carnarvon is. I live down here in Perth, but I know a lot about WA, as does a lot of people in WA. Now, Perth's down there, up here. This is up north. We call this up north. So anyway, we have many lines, but I don't know what that one's doing there. Oh, we'll figure it out. So this is the camp area, right there, and that was determined by all sorts of different ways. On Google Earth, this shack, there's a red one and a blue one, and then in the aerial shot that we get shown, there's the red and blue shack. So they're camping in here. Here's a good view of the tent, the gazebo. So that's the tent with 2 compartments, a gazebo with chairs, table, looks like, and then just 20 metres behind, I think it's 20 metres, is these tin shed homestead type things. So when we get in real close on scribble maps, we can see, here we go. So there's an area where there's tin housing, let me say, not camping. So they were camping on a beach with this behind. Okay, now we'll zoom out. I have this radius. There's an aquarium here because this is sharks' frenzy around this area, the blowholes. Okay, where to start? Always the best place to start is the chart. Thank you, Bianca, for providing the 1:30 chart. This is just my version of it with a couple of added things. We've got DNA, which is 55555 in astro.com. And Cleo has been added by Bianca, so thank you. So this is the last scene chart when Cleo wanted a drink of water, and then her parents went to sleep. So Cleo is represented by this here, 2833 of Cancer. That is basically 20. Can never do the 9. 29 degrees. When it's above 30 minutes, it's 29. So we've got a 29 degree ascendant. And in horary, we would say we're too late. So that is applicable, but this is an event chart, so it is a little different. I will still read it. If it was a horary chart, you would probably say, I'm not going to read it. But because it's an event chart, I am going to read it. Because it's a 29 degree moon and it's a child, Cleo is under 5 and the moon represents children under 5, we must link the moon to Cleo. And that is her physical self, and there she resides in the 7th house of the perpetrator. So let's have a little look around. I'll just leave it there for a minute. Now, the most notable thing to me, as always, is firstly the moon is ruling Cleo, which is a child under 5, so that shows us directions and very important areas for evidence. The next thing is repetitive 24, 22, 20, 22, 20, 28, 24, 28. So repetitiveness is the key. Now, oops, a daisy. The end of the matter here. The end of the matter shows me that that's an asteroid, Cleo, at 10 degrees of Scorpio. But even without that, 13 degrees of Scorpio is water. So it shows me that water is the end result, or could be the end result. And I will say right now, I have 2 theories. But anyway, moving along. So what's the thing that aspects or is involved in the end of the matter? Mars. Mars in Libra, in the 3rd house of communication. So Mars can be a vehicle and it can be an angry person. Mars is very close to the Sun, which is a male, and then trailing right behind, as I had a discussion with Bianca just last night about, is Mercury on the 3rd house cusp. So this little thing here, let's link it up to the 7th house where the perpetrator is. The ruler of the perpetrator, it's 28 or 29 degrees of Capricorn, is Saturn at 6:54 of Aquarius. So Saturn, the perpetrator, an older person. Okay, but looking at the ruler of Capricorn is always Saturn, but the ruler of Aquarius is also Saturn. Now, another thing is that the 6th house, which has Pluto in it, which is squaring this Mars and the Sun, is in the house, the 6th house of work. So this here is linking me to believe that a person or persons that took her worked around the area and is a local of the area. Now, in terms of description, we're looking for a Capricorn type person. So, I'll just grab something. So, people signified by the sign of Capricorn and Saturn are people like fathers, grandfathers, miners, potters, plumbers, brickmakers, chimney sweepers, people that work at churches, bearers of the dead, corpses, scavengers, gardeners, dyers of black cloth, herdsmen. Now that is important because I'm going to show you something right now. The page for Quobba, let's have a look here. Let's go home. Here's Quobba. I won't stay on there. We'll just have a little look. On here, go to Quobba, accommodation. And now I forgot what I was looking for. Plenty to do there. Okay, here we go. Here's the map. Now, there's the blowhole that the map goes to. So just keep that in mind. And then access points. The homestead, fishing access points all the way along here that locals know about. And only locals know about that little beach. That's not completely true, but mostly true. Not many people would know about it because it's not Quobba Station, it's not Red Bluff, it's different. It's in a different area. So here we go, and we look at the station for the Gascoigne. This is what they do there. Herd sheep and such. So this is all on the website, which is okay to put up, of course. Here's a very detailed area. So this website's just quobba.com.au. Tells you a lot about a lot, actually. So the blowholes are there, Lake McLeod. Now, another interesting fact is this. Very, very close to the area where this all happened. There's Carnarvon there, there's McLeod, so it happened around here. The Tropic of Capricorn itself, the entire Tropic of Capricorn. Let's have a look. I myself have gotten out and taken a picture of this on both sides of Australia. There we go. How's that for a sign? So there you go. The Tropic of Capricorn. So let's get back to... Alright, so all that was in aid of saying that herdsmen and that entire place is related to this perpetrator area, just in the reading of the astrology. Now, moving along a little bit quicker. The moon at 25 degrees of Aquarius is Cleo. Okay, that's her. 22 degrees is Jupiter retrograde. DNA is at 20. So when we look at this group of planets here, we can see there's a blue line, which means it's 120 degrees away from these planets right here, Mars and the Sun. Saturn is 120 degrees away from Mercury. So the perpetrator is connected to this area here, which is indeed a vehicle. Now, this is trailing behind this. It's also in the boot of a vehicle. Okay, so let's have a look at some movement of where that could be. Not only that, unfortunately, we have Neptune in the 8th house of death, making a aspect very tightly to Mars, the perpetrator of the end result. So that again, unfortunately, this Pisces 8th house, it's a little worrying about the water. And let's just move on and have a look at the maps. Okay, so if you're ready to keep up, let's have a look. 25 degrees Aquarius, which is the moon, from the campsite goes directly to the blowholes. Okay, but not only that, goes through this set of roads, Beach Road and Narraloo Road. So that's the moon line. Okay, the moon is always the co-ruler of something that's lost as well. So this area here, I'm going to zoom right in, I believe is representing where he goes and where he's been, even though it's the moon. Now you're going to know what I mean when I show you this other chart shortly. But so this goes through the car park and to the camp spot. So that's the moon. Now the perpetrator line, the Saturn line, is this one here. So it shows that he, she, they came in my direction, in my opinion, from this way, Blowholes Road and down Beach Road, or even further up. So they've come from up north or Blowholes Road. Most likely Blowholes, because of everywhere else that the maps go. Okay, so that's the very first thing is that I would be triple checking these areas. I don't know what this is. People that have got more time, maybe Google Earth it. What are all these buildings? I don't know each one. I know I've got a fair idea, but I don't know each one. So anyway, moving along. Distance-wise, so that's like 2.5. It's not going to tell us. 2.5 miles, I think it is. 2.4. It's in relation to the moon, the distances, and also the DC, 28, 25, 20, 22, 25, 28, 24, a lot of them actually. So back. Now, if he went, he, they, she, if they went down Blowholes Road, this is the ascendant line, the Cancer line, that continues to go down Blowholes Road, and I'll zoom right out. Then the next area is here, which is going well and truly into the Gascoyne region, Durack River. People that wouldn't be out there. But then it gets interesting, because at this point, when I was doing some research, I found out some information about Northwest Coastal Highway, and I'm going to show you. That's a bit messy. For passenger vehicle in Cleo Smith disappearance. Police are hopeful a small passenger vehicle spotted in a crucial 30-minute window the night she vanished, i.e. 3 to 3:30, may hold the key to finding her. The driver may not be a suspect, but the timing is crucial. About 90 minutes after she was last seen in her tent, so 90 minutes is 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. She was seen sleeping at the campsite. So Detective Superintendent said the smaller vehicle, probably a passenger vehicle, was seen driving south towards Carnarvon between 3 a.m. and 3:30. The vehicle turned out of Blowholes Road and turned south towards Carnarvon in the Gascoyne region. I'm taking this in because I actually need to put this on the map. He said the individual or individuals in the passenger vehicle are not considered suspects. They just want to know what was going on. The sighting was reported by 2 people, Mercury, who were travelling together along the Northwest Coastal Highway in the early hours of the morning, and they had only been able to provide a limited description of the vehicle. But it says she's likely within WA as a result of the border restrictions, as I thought as well, thank God. So they're scouring the home and everything like that, but anyway, that is really interesting. So let's get back to the area. Turned out of Blowholes Road and turned south towards Carnarvon in the Gascoyne region. Okay, this is the 28-mile radius. Let me zoom in. There's an intersection of Northwest Coastal Highway where they were sighted. That's why it went a bit messy. I was like, oh my gosh. Because I wanted to add, the circle here to show that there's a cross point. So that other circle was there before. Anyway, I'm not going to prove that. It doesn't matter. But irrespective of that, this is that road there, and here is Blowholes Road. So when we go out, I'd put here, another here, along the line of 28 miles. It could be kilometres, miles, I think. So I'm being a bit quiet so I don't wake up my bear. So here we have a mishmash of roads, but we have Blowholes Road, right? and Northwest Coastal Highway. So they saw this car going down this way on Blowholes Road here. So they were on North Coastal Road and they saw them on Blowholes. Let me get back to that. Turned out of Blowholes Road and turned south. Turned out of here and turned south. So they saw them literally in this circle here. Let's take these circles away. Just get rid of it. Okay, this is really interesting. So there was an actual sighting here. Now, if we follow the line, which we always follow the lines, I believe that there'll be evidence along said line. So there's a few areas that I would be searching. This area here is like a bridge or something. This, I would be looking there. I don't know what this is. I'm not 100% sure what that is there, but that I would be looking right there on that road for evidence. I mean, it follows Blowholes Road. Oh, I was curious. What's this place here? Just get rid of those. Like, who works here? What is it? You know, so there's a few places out there. It's not in the middle of nowhere. Well, it is, but, you know, there's cars, there's people, there's things. People work there, which is why it's more likely a local. You know, it's not someone that's just driving around killing people, I don't think. So let's go further out, even more. Oh no, let's go over to here. So if we start mapping around the area of the 28 miles, which is the DC, and then go from there and use, this is really confusing. How do I explain it? Okay. One of these lines is the IC line that goes to Carnarvon. Okay, so it's coincidentally 24 miles to this spot here. 24, 25. One Tree Point Nature Reserve. So that needs to be looked at for a possible perpetrator. Oopsie-daisy. Then we have, I know there's so many lines, but if they are in Carnarvon, I would be looking down Bibiwara Road and workplaces down that way. I would be looking across this Gascoyne River area, Chinaman's Pool Nature Reserve, housing along here. I'm going to provide a link to all this as well. And that's just going to the airport area there. So go out even further, and if we go 306 kilometres, which is the radius of Saturn, which remember is the perpetrator, right here. That in kilometres goes to Meekatharra. So that is another place that I would be looking for the perpetrator. So that's how far it goes. Saturn, which is the perpetrator, around East Murchison, and then right to Meekatharra, which is a place where a man went missing actually recently, strangely enough. But Meekatharra is a town, and a reasonably big one. There's plenty of people and all sorts of work opportunities. And I say work because I work throughout WA, so I know that when you're in these areas, excuse me, unless you live there, so unless you're a local, you don't really go there for a holiday, you work there. That's the general rule of thumb in Australia, in this area. So, after all of that, we've got this giant radius. So it goes all the way up to Karratha, to Tom Price. It covers a lot of ground. It goes all the way down to Geraldton, past Kalbarri, but points to Meekatharra. Now, can we use another planet or anything from a chart? Let's have a look. Okay, so this is when her parents saw that she wasn't there, 6 o'clock in the morning. Now look what's happened. This area here is in the secretive 12th house, Mars, the Sun, Mercury, retrograde, all close together, secretively sitting there in the 12th house, just on the ascendant in Libra. Okay, now the IC, the end of the matter, has become Capricorn. Pluto is in the 4th house. So there's this terrible, harsh aspect between the Sun and Mars, an angry man or men. Yeah, and the 4th house here. And then there's the perpetrator, Saturn, in the 4th house as well. Then we have the moon has moved 3 degrees by that point, in that couple of hours. So the moon's at 27 degrees of Aquarius. But the other planets are the same, and that's in the 5th house. So the moon there, or more DNA, Jupiter, and the 5th house cusp, is relative to these people here. The 5th house is having fun. What someone deems as fun. The 5th house represents some nasty things that I'm not even going to say. So this is a horrible looking chart and I hate it. But let's have a look. We've got repetitive degrees, 24, 24, 20, 22, 24, 24, blah, blah. And swapping as well. Capricorn on the IC. So have a look at this. Okay, so because the Sun, because the Sun's obviously so pivotal, we look to Leo, the ruler of the Sun, and that's the 11th house cusp at 6 a.m. Okay, so it is 13 degrees of Leo. So let's have a look at 120 plus 13, so 133 degrees of Leo. So we're looking at the bottom one, bearing, 133. Oops. Goes there. And in this 130 chart, Leo is completely encompassed in the first house. So that man was standing there watching and see what happened. So I'm going to actually use the one that's got the lowest orbs. I'll get my pen. So that means I've taken the orbs down to like virtually nothing. So these lines here are the tightest aspects in the entire chart. So the tightest aspects we have are the Sun and Mars together, making a trine to Jupiter and the Moon, and of course DNA at 20. Then 24 degrees of Capricorn, Pluto is making a square to this Sun and Mars. So again, that indicates the importance of this 6th house. Someone who works somewhere or goes somewhere on a daily basis, a stalker, that's them as well. Now, general rule of thumb, I count them 1, 2, 3. Now, even though this is Cleo, it's a body, a planetary body. 1, 2, 3. 3 people. 1, 2, 3, or maybe 4. 3 or 4 people. So I'm getting 3 people know what's happened. Now remember, we've got the 3rd house of vehicles and communication and someone that knows someone, perhaps. Now let's just go back to the other chart because that was also something interesting. This Leo here, so this ruler of the Sun at 6 a.m. is the 11th house of friends. So was it a friend, that someone that they knew? That they saw on a daily basis. Someone that the stepfather maybe worked with, the mother worked with, friend of the family. Let's have a look. I don't know, this could go on forever, but what I do see is vehicles, boots of vehicles being taken somewhere. The end of the matter is resulting in this Scorpio, this water, along with the 8th house, water and Neptune, and the part of fortune there. 3 is indicated, and I'll leave it there for now. There is one other aspect that's pretty tight actually, and it goes from Mercury to Venus, which is a female, to Chiron, which is related to the female, and also Mercury. So we have a wounded healer in the 8th house, female. There may have been a female as a part of this. These vehicle people, there could be a female. Okay, how much time have I got? A little bit. So, let me grab... Okay, so this orange line is the one that I just drew in then. Goes across this coastal highway. That's interesting. There's a cross point here. Zoom in. There's housing there. Main road. Brick house station. Oh my gosh. Gets worse by the minute. Who works at Brick House Station, which goes right across the Gascoyne. Plantations. And that's where the IC was as well. Oh God. Carnarvon Mullawa Road. And it's just going out further. So if we followed the AC line, where he was sighted and kept going, you can go down this Carnarvon Mullawa Road, and these areas, I don't know why I circled them now, but there, cross points. Cross point. And this is the AEC line. Cancer. Goes all the way out past the Gascoyne River, the Gascoyne Junction. Past East Murchison to Meekatharra. Okay, and you can actually utilise the same roads to get there, all through the Gascoyne here. So he's either in Carnarvon, or they are in Carnarvon, roughly around this area, and work in Carnarvon, around here, or around the campsite, or work around Meekatharra, or live around Meekatharra. So here's a look at the blowholes. We can even go on the street. Let's have a look. That's what it looks like. So, you know, you've got to know where you're going if you're going down here. Don't know how much further we'll go. If anyone knows anything, please call Crime Stoppers, call the police, call anyone. check all your CCTV footage. And I really just want to thank everybody for being patient with me and all the emails, messages, prayers and everything. It is much appreciated, and I hope so much that dear little Cleo is found and that her poor family do not get completely hassled. I'm glad they've got support, and I will be back because I've gone further and further and further into some dirty laundry. So thank you again and take care everyone. Good night.